Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's see, how do we get this? There we go. Okay. So good morning and welcome to another episode, segment, whatever you want to call it, of Coffee, Tea, and Me. And today we're going to talk about finding your purpose. And I have plenty of notes. I hope you have a notebook, a notepad, pen, paper, whatever you use to take your notes, because I have lots and lots to share. I think that what we share today, what I found in my research, is going to just open the floodgates. And I pray that it will help you discover your purpose, rediscover your purpose, or for you to hone in deeper and go deeper in that purpose. So let's get started. Like I said, I have my notes, so I'm going to be looking down a little bit, but just know I don't want to miss anything. All right, so what is purpose? And the dictionary defines purpose as the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. That is the noun version of purpose. The verb purpose is to have as one's intention or objective. To have as one's intention or objective. So I want you to go back to the definition, the noun, and I want you to put the word I in place of something. The reason for which I was created, or for which I exist. My purpose, the reason for which I was created, or for which I exist. Answer that if you can. You can write down your thoughts on why you were created, because we all have a thought on it. And if you don't, that's fine. This is a great place to start. And why did I put that? I wanted you to put your name there so that your name or the pronoun I, so that it can be more personal. And since that's what we're talking about today, I want to make this personal because no one can do this for you. It can't be outsourced. I know you hear me say that all the time. Life cannot be outsourced. And so, what do you think you were created for? Along my journey to becoming a certified life coach, I did not think I would be a life coach. I thought I would be a social worker or a teacher. There were different things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be an English teacher growing up. My mom told me no, I was going to school for business. And she told me what school I was going to. So I was not going to Bowie, first off. I was going away. She sent me away to school for college, and I studied business management. But let me back up. When I was 14 years old, I clearly heard God tell me that I was going to have a resource center. And I was like, what? A resource center? I like doing hair. What are you talking about? So I threw that in the back of my mind, but really it wasn't in the back of my mind because I still remember the day that I heard it. I remember what I felt like. It was the first time I had some type of revelation like that. And so I put that in the back of my mind, but I remembered. And I go through life and I experience all of these different things that culminate into being a life coach today. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me not move too fast. So I had to go back and think about what life means for me and why I feel like I was created. And that took me a minute to realize. I had to sit and talk to God a lot. I had to go through a lot in order to understand my purpose for being here. So ask yourself this question. Do you know why you exist? Do you know why you exist? And do you know for which purpose you were created? Some of us have more than one purpose. So don't feel like you only have one and that's the only one. And if you don't find it, then your life is meaningless. No, we have many purposes, and they all intersect and intertwine and work with someone else's purpose. All right, so how do you find your purpose? I have a lot of questions here. So if it hits you while I'm asking these questions, fine. You can chime in, put it in the chat, raise your hand so I'll see that you want to speak, and we can continue having a dialogue. So my first question, when trying to figure out your purpose, think about this. What brings me joy? What brings me joy? So you probably heard me talk about this before, and although I'm a life coach, what brings me joy is, first of all, being in a bookstore. I love books. I love reading. I love being around all of those books and reading the different stories and how people put their thoughts and experiences on paper, and how creative they can be with their words, how these words come together and come to life. And I'm telling you, I visualize a lot of what I've read. So being in a bookstore and reading brings me joy. My other joy is making dresses. So yes, I'm a certified dressmaker. Yeah, I love school. I'm a career student is what my mother told me. So seeing a beautiful dress with a beautiful print and a nice silhouette, oh my gosh, that just brings me so much joy. And being in a fabric store with all of this fabric to choose from, with all of the trimmings and just the feel of the fabric. I walk through the fabric store and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this with this fabric. I can do this. I can make this person that. Now listen, I don't anymore. I don't make dresses like I used to. But when I did, oh my goodness, I could be up all night long. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm still sewing, have to take a nap, take a shower, get dressed, and go to work to be there by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what I did because I loved making dresses. So what brings you joy? In what areas do you serve? That's your next question. In what areas do you serve? Do you serve people? Do you serve a mission? Do you serve a specific group of people? Some people love being around the elderly. Like that's their thing. And elderly people are drawn to them. I have a friend, her name is Simone. Simone has a program where she helps older people who are 50 and above, write their stories and own their stories, because those are the people that are drawn to her. She's in her 30s. And those are the people that she loves to serve. And I've been under her. I've written 2 books. One was a vision journal, and My Better Days Vision Journal. Yes, I always have my books near. And then I was the co-author of Unmute Yourself, Speaking Our Truth Unapologetically. And so she edited this one, and she was the creator of the anthology, because she did a writing challenge where I was the speaker and ended up staying and becoming a co-author. So 9 people created and contributed to this book. Anyway, that is her niche, bringing older people together. Now I'm not 50, but that's her niche. That is what she loves. And that's the population she serves. I serve women who have been through traumatic life situations and they're ready to start over. You don't have to you don't have to have been through trauma to benefit from working with me, but I feel like I'm equipped to help those who are trying to transition or start their lives over again, because I know what it's like to start over. I know what it's like to have been through trauma. I know what it's like to have been through a series of bad relationships, from bad choices. I know what it's like. So I serve that community. So for what areas do you serve? Who do you serve? Where do you give? Do you give your time to your church? Do you give your time to tutoring children? Do you give your time to donating or going to a hospital? Do you give your time teaching? Where do you give? What types of people are you drawn to? Again, like Seminary is drawn to older, seasoned people. I am drawn to those who are ready to start over. I don't know why. I didn't know why it happened. I know now, but I didn't know why in the beginning. But those were the people that those who needed help. They found me, even from me being a teenager in middle school and high school, and my friends coming to me like, hey, I need to talk to you. Wait, I'm going through the same pubescent situations you are. Why are you coming to me? But I just thank God that he gifted me with the ability to hear from him and be able to share and help other people. One of the participants says crafting, working with kids, inspiring the creativity in kids. I love that. And I hope that we get to connect even more, because my daughter is very creative. Like, she is just amazing with her hands. She's 7. And what I love so much about her mind is that she is in the details. This little girl will take a cardboard box and she created some type of water irrigation system. Now, it didn't look like much, but when she described every part of it and why she put certain pieces together, then she grabs everything from the house. So it could be a gemstone that she used as a desk or a chair, but her mind is just so creative. I could never do what she, well, I'm just not creative like that, but that's what she loves doing. So hopefully we get to connect so that you can bring some more out of her. And one lady says she's a giver and an encourager. We need more of that in this world. More encouragement, more giving, more people with a beautiful giving soul, not looking for anything in return other than to see their sister or brother encouraged and live a better life. So the next one is, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? And what has been your life experience? So let's park there for a minute. So my life experience and your life experiences can be totally different, but we could still converge on the same type of purpose. We could still run into each other and help each other. My life purpose, again, a series of bad relationships. But had I not gone through those, had I not learned from those, I wouldn't be able to help a sister at the House of Ruth. The House of Ruth, for those who don't know, is a home for women and children who are survivors of domestic violence. So had I not gone through my situation, had I not gone through the different relationships that I did, where I did experience some type of abuse, I wouldn't know how to relate to her. So what are your life experiences? What are your hobbies? Where do you spend the most time? I spend a lot of time researching. Who or what type of people are in your circle? That is important, because a lot of times the people who are in our circle mirror us or compliment us. So they're like us or they compliment us. If you have people in your circle who are totally opposite of you and give pushback, there's a difference between good pushback and negativity. So spend time knowing who's in your circle. And if the people in your circle don't vibe and push each other to grow and encourage each other to find their purpose or continue moving and growing in their circle, those are people you may have to not unfriend, but maybe move to the outer circle. Maybe move to the outer circle. But think about the people who are in your circle. I can remember, and welcome to those who are just joining us. One lady says she spent most of her time volunteering, and I love it. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. That is where it began for me, as a volunteer crocheting. Yes, I've seen a lot of your work, and I am a recipient of your work, Ebony. And I do need some new earrings because I don't know what happened to mine. So I need some new earrings. But when I was a young teenager, at my old church, this man came to our church. He was the nephew of my uncle. It's a long story, but I won't go all deep. So he started mentoring me, and I was one of his first mentees. And one thing that I had to do to give back was to help tutor children in elementary school. And while mentoring them or tutoring them, I also had to help serve. I had to help go pick up food from Popeye's Chicken because they always donated food to children who were from less, what is the right word? Their homes were poor. I'm sorry, I can't think of the word right now. Well, they came from a poor environment. And when they came to us, sometimes they had not eaten. And sometimes that would have been their only meal for the day. So I was one of the ones who had to go and pick up food or help pick up food and help serve them. And then whatever food we had left, which was a lot, we would take to a women's shelter in DC or a men's shelter in DC and serve them. Yes, we set up tables. They knew we were coming. Set up tables, put tablecloths down, had our gloves on, and we served them with a smile and a hello. That is where it started for me. Yes, my mom and my grandmother, they're all givers, but that's where serving started for me. Okay, where do you donate your time and your money and your talents? So some are dancers, some are singers, and we donate to our different churches and communities, or whatever it is that you have in abundance or that you love and get joy from, share that with someone else. You'll find your purpose in that. So why should you have a purpose? So one thing I read was that people who have a purpose or know their purpose, because everyone I believe has a purpose. Those who know their purpose and operate in their purpose, they live longer. And I believe it's because they are happier. And, you know, when you are filled with joy and you are happy with your life, not 100% happy. I don't think everybody's 100%, but close. And if you're happy with your life and you're happy giving and you're operating in your purpose, I do believe you live longer. You have less time to be upset or stressed. I believe you have less stress in your life. And so those people live longer. And there are studies that show that. That's exactly what I do now, serve and give. Yes. Hello, I have a new participant today. I met her. We met on Instagram, and I'm so glad that you inboxed me. And so we will be talking more and we will be moving forward. But welcome to Coffee, Tea, and Me. Feel free to put your comments in the chat, or if you have something you want to say, just raise your hand so I can see and you can just come off mute and talk. So for why have a purpose? And so for living longer, and for me, I feel like my life has meaning, and I feel like I get to serve my corner of the world. Like there's so much that I have to say. I talk a lot, and so much that I've learned and want to share with the world, but who will know what's inside of you if you're not sharing that with the world, and if you're not fully showing up in your purpose? Who will know? Who will you impact? And then on the flip side of that, who will miss out on the opportunity of knowing you and benefiting from your overflow if you're quiet and if you don't share? So remember, there is somebody, even if it's just one person, who can benefit from you showing up and discovering and showing up fully in your purpose. Remember that. You have got to play an active role in your life and in the life of others. When you show up and you are active, not just existing, but actually living life, that's when the beauty unfolds. That's when the dynamics shift and change, when you start showing up. So I want to show you something that I found while I was researching. And I hope I can find, oh Lord, please don't act a fool. You know how when you start to share and you want to do things differently. All right, I hope you all can see this. I found this while researching, and it is called Ekey, Ikigai. That's it. Ikigai. Ikigai. Ikigai is what it's called. And it is the conversion of different parts of your life that helps you to find your purpose. And so it has like 4 main parts. And it says it's what you love, what the world needs, what you are paid for, and what you are good at. Then inside of it, it talks about your passion, your mission, your vocation, your profession. All of those, when they are operating together, help you to find your purpose. It helps you to define your purpose right there. So I'm going to take this off the screen. I'm not going to keep it up. But if you want this, I can send it to you, or you can look it up. It is called Ikigai, and it's a Japanese term, and it simply means a reason to live, or our life's purpose. And so it shows and intersects the 4 main areas of our lives. I'm going to take this off the screen. And so one of the areas, let's see, I want to start here. When you find your purpose, or you start to discover your purpose, there are things that you have to do. So you go through and you think about all of these questions as they pertain to you. So I'll go over them again. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you get paid for. Now, all of these can work together, and you don't necessarily have to get paid for operating in your purpose, not always financially. It could be because someone's life was changed. It could be because some child discovered that they really do love art. Someone else found that they could learn to crochet, or you can teach someone how to crochet. It could be because someone feels better about their lives because you found your purpose. So think about it in those terms too, as far as getting paid for it. Because one thing I learned is that when you go after something, your mission and your passion, just looking for $1, that's when you start to fall flat. And that's where you start to miss the voice that comes to you and gives you direction. That's when opportunities slow down or cease. So remember the reason why you are looking for your purpose, and what you are created for, and what that purpose was created to do. My one of my favorite scriptures is Isaiah 58, verses 6 through 12. And it talks about us giving and serving and helping others. And if we do this like God commands us to do, without looking for anything in return, He is going to take care of every need. He's going to take care of our wants, and it'll be more than we can ask for. It's not the same scripture of exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. This is different. This is overflowing. This is your rivers will never run dry. Just do what He has purposed you to do, and what He's shown you to do. I don't know why I had to say that, but I just needed to say it. So once you just start discovering it, you want to disown your fears. So sometimes when we know what our purpose is, or we have an inkling of the purpose, it is scary because sometimes it's bigger than us. For instance, yes, I know that I'm supposed to serve women who have been through domestic violence and other things, but my thoughts that I want to run from sometimes are that I want this to be bigger than coaching. I want this to be coaching and create a safe home and create other avenues for women to turn their lives around. So let's circle all the way back to that 14-year-old who was told or heard that they were going to be a resource center. All throughout life, because I'm a talker and because I am nosy and love to read, I have come across different people who have different skills and different businesses. and they love to serve the community. So now when I reach out to women who are starting over, I can say, hey, my colleague over here is an insurance agent. My colleague over here is a realtor and understands NACA and understands starting over. This person right here understands the ins and outs of bankruptcy, and you don't have to hire a lawyer. You can do it yourself. Hey, I know this person over here that can help you get a car. This person over here, two people who have their own HR businesses and can help you find a job. So all throughout life, I've become this resource center and not really realize it. It wasn't until a couple of years ago that I was like, hey, I'm a virtual one. I don't have to have a brick and mortar resource center, but I have it within me. And I have this arsenal of people around me to help other people. So, but my fear was moving forward and creating this home, because I'm like, oh, what if the perpetrator's person finds them? Or what if I don't know where to start? Just start. Just start. So what I found was when we fear the outcome or a part of the process, we don't move forward. That's one of the fears that we have, because we don't know the process to finding it. Or when we do find it, we don't know the process to moving in it. Just move. Just start. Just start. Start by making a list of the fears in relation to finding your purpose. So what are you fearful of? Are you fearful that someone will tell you that you can't do it? Are you fearful because you just don't know enough right now? Are you fearful because you don't know if you can fully show up? What's your fears? And then next, identify the evidence, this is the best part, that proves your fears are wrong. What lie is your fear telling you? What lie is your fear telling you? Yes, sometimes we hear it in our own voice. Sometimes we hear it from other people. But what is the lie that you've heard that keeps you from moving forward? And then once you identify the lie and the fear, here's the evidence. I can do this. I have wonderful people around me that support me. There is Google and there are other people out there who are doing exactly what I want to do, or some portion of what I want to do. It has been done, it can be done, or I can be a trailblazer. That's the evidence to prove wrong the fear. So whenever you hear that lie, whenever you hear that fear, counteract that with something positive, with the opposite of it, telling yourself what you are absolutely capable of, because you are. You are. Next, in finding your purpose, claim your value. So we have core values. So sit down and write out all of the values that are important to you. And then you use this list as inspiration to help you find your way to your purpose. When you look at this list, how is your current life and your work supporting and reflecting these values? So does your life and your work and your support system support your values? And if they're not, fine, you can't ignore them. You can make a shift. You can look at the areas or the values that you're not showing up fully for, the ones that you need to give more attention to. And then that's where you start to change that situation. So look at the values that you have. Look at how you are, how they're supported in your life. And if you are not showing up and those core values are not showing up in your life and you're not giving them enough attention, go back to it and give them more attention. Then whittle those down to like your top 5. What are your top 5 core values? Your top 5. Those are the ones that really drive it. My core values are to show peace. Like if you walk in my home is a mess right now, but you'll still feel peaceful. You'll still feel loved. You'll feel encouraged. That's three. So those are the things that I push in my coaching practice when I come across people who need help. Those are my core values. I love God. So you may hear me talk about God a lot. And I insert him in everything I do because it's because of him that I live, move, and have my being. So what are your core values? Dwindle them down to your top 5, and that will help you move towards your purpose. Then the last one is to take action. That goes right back to the intentions part of purpose. How can you be intentional about moving in your purpose? How can you show up? What steps do you need to take? How do you write them out so that you can follow along? So for me, with having the, haven't even given the home a name yet. I was playing with Zaria's house or Rose's house. And that is for the home that I want to have. I never said this out loud before. For the home that I want to have for women and children who are survivors of domestic violence. So I haven't figured out one. Zaria is the name that I wanted to give my daughter when I was much younger, and she now has Shelby. And Roses is my daughter's middle name and sort of the a variation of my grandmother's name. So anyway, what do I do to create that entire program that's much like the House of Ruth, but my own entity? So I continue going to classes. Yes, I have to take classes. I just completed a 25-hour continuing education one on abuse intervention. So I have that in my pocket. I have been a part of the Maryland Department Against Domestic Violence. I've gone to the Judicial Committee and gave testimony to help change the definition of domestic violence. All of this stuff I posted on Facebook, but whatever. Those are things that I have to do to move forward. I have to meet people. I have to talk to people. I reached out to a whole House of Ruth in DC and was given the opportunity or afforded the opportunity to show my 6-week program in 4 weeks. Y'all, that was hard, trying to get 6 weeks of information in 4 weeks and an added piece on finances. But I did it. And so those are the things that I needed to do to move forward and to learn what I need to learn to start my business. Now, it's not going to be tomorrow that I do it, but it will happen. And as long as I'm moving in that direction, I just believe that opportunities will open for me and people will find me. I won't have to rush and dig deep to find it. It will come to me. It will come to you when you are fully showing up. So how do you know when you have found your purpose? Does anybody know? Anybody know when you have found your purpose? No, yes. I'll just keep talking. What I do best. So it says here when I was reading, consider how you feel. And that's what I was thinking. After leaving my abusive marriage and getting a divorce, well, actually an annulment, honey, that's a long story all in itself, but I got an annulment and went to therapy for about 9 months to a year until my therapist told me that I couldn't come back anymore because I already had what I needed. I was driving to work one day and I was like, God, what do you want me to do with all of this information that I've learned? Because it was therapy and going to all of these different conferences and workshops on domestic violence in the faith community, in the Latino community, in the Black community, all of this stuff. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do with all of this? And he simply said, share your story. Any other time, I would have been like, yeah, right. I'm not telling people this. This time, I was driving to work and I was like, yes. I felt so much peace in me when I gave him that yes. Never before. It was calming. And I was like, yes, I'm receptive of it. So then I was like, well, how do I do this? I'm driving and he's like, this is what you do. And I said, okay, so what name do I come up with? And he took me back to the time when I was retailing, wholesaling my clothes, things that I made to a boutique in Clinton. And it was called Better Days. It had nothing to do with the clothes. It had everything to do with the name. And when it hit me, I was like, oh my God, that's it. So my fingers started tingling and I had butterflies in my tummy. I say, oh my God, that's it. That's it. The same thing happened when he gave me the name for my clothing line, which is Compliments. My fingers were tingling. So I'm reading and it says, you get butterflies, your tummy flips, you get warm rushes of heat all over your body or in your heart. My heart races. These are all clues to let you know that you are close. Uh-oh, people are falling off. That you are close. You feel it. Oh, okay. I wonder what happened. Put in the chat if I'm boring you or you don't want to hear anymore. I see a few people fell off. Maybe they got kicked out. Oh, I'll keep going because we're recording. Oh boy. All right. You feel it. Your past clicks into place. So your past experiences line up. Thank you for saying that. Your past experiences click into place. So all of those ugly relationships I went through, all of that heartbreak I went through, but then also, oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. You're learning so much. But all of those experiences that I went through, learning later in life that a family member was using drugs and I didn't know. But then once I put all the pieces together, it showed me why a certain person did a certain thing and why I was affected the way I was. Going through different relationships showed me that, okay, Veronica, you're not fully available. Because all the guys that I dated, they were not available either financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, or they just really didn't want a relationship. They were using me. Some were using me for money. Now I'm a young adult. Where do I get a lot of money from to pay other people's bills and buy other people big ticket items? But I did it because I wanted to feel accepted and loved. So I can take that experience and show another young lady, another woman, another mom, another business owner, another entrepreneur. Yeah, you are successful here. And then our lives can be tore up on the back end and nobody know, but I can help you with that part because I know what it's like to put on that mask when you walk out your door so that nobody else knows that you are sad and hurt and possibly depressed. So I've been through all of that. And I know what it's like to be on the other side of it, where you have full acceptance of yourself, where you are fully engaged with yourself, where you fully love yourself, where your standards are yours and nobody can make you lower them. And you can say, you know what, my standards are here. And guess what? If you can't come up to them, I'm not lowering them. I'm not. Because this is what I deserve and what I need. And I'm going to give it to myself, whether another person can or not. That's the experiences of life that we use to find our purpose. That's how we find our purpose. You feel inspired and energized. When I have to do coffee, tea, and me, listen, I did not go to bed till after 2:30 this morning because I was up rewriting my notes and reading over them and making sure that I had down everything I wanted to share today. And of course, I pray and I talk to God and I'm like, Lord, just give me the words to share with your daughters. and help them to know that they're not in this by themselves, and allow me to just be the mouthpiece tomorrow. And when I get here, I get excited. I'm like, I am all the way in, and I'm just going to do this because this is what he wants me to do. And so I get energized by it. Like, I'm still tired, but there is nothing that's going to keep me from doing this. Like, I had to get up early and drop my daughter off so I could get back home and be ready for this. You get energized and you feel it. You stop wondering what your purpose is. So when you figure out what your purpose is, or you're on that track, you stop looking and you don't wonder anymore, because you already know, and you know that you're moving in that direction. You know that. I'm hoping that the others who fell off, maybe they had something else to do. All right, so you no longer wonder. You start thinking about how to make it happen. That's what you do. You know you found it when there is no doubt. You have a certain assurance, and no one can tell you otherwise. Nobody. It could sound crazy what you're doing. One of my girlfriends, she is a therapist, and she started an organization. She did her first conference in Abuja, Nigeria, because that's where God told her to go. Abuja, Nigeria. She went, and she had an amazing conference. Amazing. And she reached other women and helped them. And they are now doing the work there and the mission that she started, helping other women who have been traumatized. There they have the female genital mutilation. I hope I said it right. My braces like mess up my words sometimes, but she went there and helped them to understand that it is not healthy, it is not right, and give them support and show them how they can fight against it without her way. Her next one was in Russia. This was 2 years ago. Now, she's from DC, and I'm sure people probably told her or thought, that is crazy. But if that's where God told her to go, she did it. And it did not matter what anybody said. I was supposed to go with her, but I couldn't. It wasn't for me to go. I had a young daughter. My baby was much younger then. It wasn't for me to go. I wanted to. I was there with her in spirit, but she went. There was no doubt in her mind that that's what she was supposed to do. You feel connected and in tune. You get clarity and you're certain about yourself and where you're headed. Clarity is important. Clarity is important for your life, for your purpose, for your drive. When you know it, nobody can tell you differently. No one. And you are connected to the source, your power source. And I love the word download. Like, he downloads everything you need to get moving. And it could be one step at a time. It could be one thing at a time. Because sometimes that's all we can handle. Because if you show us the big picture, then we might run from it and say, never mind, never mind. But when you get clarity and you start getting that download, you hunger for that download. You hunger for the next step. You hunger for the strength and the energy to keep going. Money is not your first consideration. Like, when I did the 4-week program with the House of Ruth, I did it because God told me to. So I approached them with the thought and the idea of giving of myself, because those are the people that I'm supposed to work with. Those are the ladies who God told me to help and to share my voice with. So I went to them and said, I want to do this for you. They did not ask me. And I did not ask for $1. They kept asking, like, how much is it? How much is it? How much is it? Well, so I shared, and she says, okay, well, we can't do that much. Guess what? We're still moving forward. If you give me a date that you want to start, I'm there. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to do this for the ladies at the House of Ruth. And they dragged their feet. And here I am, like, giving the whole program away. But, they found an honorarium for me, which I am thankful for. But my first thought was not money. My first thought was, how can I help? How can my purpose serve you? So, and then the last part is the opportunity and coincidences happen. The opportunities and coincidences happen. When you start working in your purpose, oh my goodness, that's when the floodgates open, and that's when you start to experience different things. That's when you start going in the direction. That's when you start attending conferences, or people start telling you about stuff randomly. They start telling you about different things that relate to your purpose. You start seeing different things pop up on your news feed or in your inbox. I had a young lady that I'm talking to now about being the life coach for her behavioral health business. And she was sharing with me about something else that was going on. And she shared about the abuse intervention program with House of Ruth. Where can I sign up? I didn't even go looking for it. It found me. It found me. So once you discover your purpose, your next step is how to bring it to life. And with this, you have to let go of control. That's hard for many of us. For me, you have to let go of control, and you have to be available for the flow. You have to be available for the download. When you are trying to control every step of the way, you block yourself. You put yourself in a bubble. But when you are open, and you are an open vessel, that's when they start to find you. That's when the opportunities find you. That's when you start to move. Your shoulders get straighter. Your shoulders get straighter. Your back gets straighter. You get more confidence. And the fear that you had in the beginning dissipates. And the evidence of what can happen shows up even more when we let go of control. So I have a few more things, and then I'm going to stop talking. I'll stop recording, and then we will have more of a discussion if you want. So there are 8 things. You have to be open. You have to be curious. Curious because you want to research everything it is about what you are doing and purpose to do. Be available. That goes with not having control, but being available to God for the download. Keep your ears open. Be intentional. Like, you have got to show up. When I say show up, I'm not saying every day you got to go hard and deep in the trenches. No. Every day, do one thing. Read something about it. Read a success story. Read some inspiration or encouragement that someone else has done, but be intentional, and then do something in the area that you know or are discovering as your purpose. Be present. So be focused and be right there in it. Be you. That's important. I remember starting out on this public speaking journey, and I didn't know why I was doing public speaking. But it was so that I could share like this. But when I started out in the public speaking journey, I wanted to be like others who were so much better, who were so much savvier than I was. And God just told me, you know what? You are failing miserably doing that. I created you to be you, uniquely you. That's all I require. That's all I need from you. Go back to why I created you, why you're doing this in the first place, to share your story. I can only share my story being me. I can only be coach, the Better Days coach, being me. That's it. You have to be fearless. I'm not saying not to have fear, because we all have a healthy fear. But you have to be so determined that fear is not going to stop you. And you have to be determined that, you know, if I see fear right here, oh, I'm moving forward. I see false evidence appearing real. I am going to push that back, and I'm going to find the evidence that proves that I'm supposed to be right here. I'm going to find the evidence that proves that I'm supposed to move forward in this opportunity that found me. Be discerning as well. Be discerning. I don't know why I said that. And then be confident. Be very confident in the fact that you belong right where you are. You are right where you're supposed to be. Be confident. So one of the things I wanted to read you, I'm almost done. Page 99 in the Better Days Vision Journal. This is about living your best life. And so this book was written by me and says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That is Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, and that's the New International Version. And then I go on to say, I want to share with you that living your best life, living your purpose, is not a destination. It is indeed a journey, one that continually evolves as we evolve. The key is being true to yourself and your core beliefs. Living is moving through this life, giving of yourself unselfishly and openly receiving the blessings laid out for you. So when you serve, the blessings are right there waiting. They're waiting to fall in your lap. In order to follow the path to living your best life, you've got to know where your journey began, how you got off the path, and how to get back on track. This journey cannot be outsourced. You've got to actively participate. No one can do this for you. I encourage you to be courageous, brave, fearless, focused, intentional, willingly obedient. That's when God has told you what to do and you give him a yes in your heart and you do it. We all have free will. We do, but be willing to do it. Be willing to follow his lead and his guide and determined to live the best life you can. Take the advice of Joshua. Be strong and courageous. God sent Jesus so that we can have a life and have it more abundantly. If you aren't living that abundant life right now, it's okay. Abundance is relative, but you can certainly begin today to discover it and then live. I encourage and empower you to live your best life today. So again, that's from this book. And I have one mantra for you. And you can come up with your own. But I saw this morning. My friend Kimberly Cleveland posted this. She is the owner and creator and coach at the Wife University. So she takes women through a journey, those who want to be wives, those who have been wives and desire to be a wife again, those who are already wives and want to be better. She walks you through a whole program and coaches you through it. And so her mantra today was, my life has a purpose and it will exceed my expectations. My life has a purpose and it will exceed my expectations. So I hope that something I shared in this 50 minutes has helped you. And thank you so much for attending and being a part of today. I'm going to stop the recording now.